Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services in Eastland, Texas. Tune in every week as we share important information to help you and your family live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, legacy and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Before we jump into it, a very special happy birthday to one Aaron Kennedy, the big 5-0.
We didn't have to go that far.
You apparently went 50 years.
Just say birthday.
Well, how's it going, Aaron? Do you feel older?
Today, yes. I have endured all the jokes. That has made me significantly older just today. Everybody in the office gave me suckers. I probably have about 3 years of inventory of suckers, and other than Sam, everybody has come by and said, it sure does suck to be 50. So boxes and boxes of dum-dums, and I have no idea how many kinds of suckers I have here, but they were not nice to me today.
We're a lot nicer than the years have been to you.
Yeah, yes. And right now, the market's been a little bit nicer than what it was a few months ago, I think.
Yes, a lot of things have been cleared up. Let's just jump straight to that instead of talking about my age. So something significant did happen. There is a current outcome on the war in Iran. I think as we got through Sunday, there was some news that a deal had been made. When I got to work Monday morning, I did not believe it because I think that was about the 18th or the 20th time that a deal was made. But it looks like this time it's real. The strait is open. There is oil moving. So the globe can get back to work from an energy standpoint. And that's a breath of fresh air. Everything has eased up quite a bit. Just kind of looking at numbers, just since Sunday, we've had a 1% week, which is great. That's a 1% in which a lot of things have happened. Not only the war, but a tiny little company called SpaceX came out. One of the most incredible things I've ever seen. I think the day it came out, it was the 6th largest company in the world, yep. or public company in the world. That is just unheard of. Right at $2 trillion, it took a big spike and then surpassed Microsoft in size. And this is a company that doesn't have any earnings. It has not turned a penny in profits. So that is a lot of hype. Now, I'm super excited about the company. I hope we get a chance to really get into this. I think it is going to change the world. We're talking about putting data centers in space. I don't know if anybody's seen the string of satellites that go across the sky at night. This is an absolutely superb company. It has changed the way we can send satellites into orbit. I think before SpaceX came along, it was hundreds of millions of dollars to get to space, and now it's a percent of that.
Yep.
It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, the reason that I'm excited about the future on this is, when a company goes public, everybody gets super excited. The stock usually goes way up. But you got to remember that there's people that have been owning these companies for decades, forever. We're talking about employees, owners that have been locked up in this security, any kind of security that's IPOing for decades. And there's a time period that goes by that it's in lockup where nothing can happen. You cannot sell the security. Usually about 6 months down the road, everybody's allowed to sell. And that selling pressure is immense. It is huge. And the average IPO will lose money. And I think the average, it's around 50%. It gets cut in half within that first 6 months. I think there's only been 3 companies that have been positive after the 1 year time frame. And there's been some big ones, Meta or Facebook, Uber, they just dropped. That's just the way it is. So if the SpaceX is going to do the same thing, and I hope it does, that will be one company that I am very, very interested in getting in at a very good price.
I feel like we've heard about SpaceX for a very long time, and we're 5 full days of trading in the open markets now, in the public markets, and you look and there's thousands of analysts that none of them will have the same price target.
No.
There's been analysts saying that this is going to be a $500 stock within the next years, and then other guys are like, this company hasn't made $1 yet, my price target is $100.
Yeah.
The difference between stuff like that is crazy. Everybody's heard about it for a long time, although you still have to remember there's still 5 trading days of SpaceX.
Yeah, it's no time. But I think what is the expectations? They're going to be able to shoot off 1,100 launches within the next year, which is incredible. But there's a couple of things. What are we moving up there? Do we have how much inventory can we shoot off into space? And I know if we are doing the data centers, there is a lot of things that go into that. It's just not like we can say, okay, it's time, let's go build a data center in space. Sam was teaching us the other day a lot of things that I did not realize on what were you telling me, heat transfer?
Yeah, so the idea, and teaching's a strong word, it was more like speculating, because there's a bunch of different stances out there, but the idea is that in space, the vacuum of space actually insulates the data center from the heat transfer occurring. So if the data center is out there generating heat, regardless of how cold it is, that heat is going to concentrate around the data center because the vacuum of space kind of seals it in around the data center as an insulator. So that's the idea behind that. But I don't. So the number of launches, I would not bet against Elon at any point.
No.
That's a terrible bet. He has exceeded most human expectations could ever place. He's the first trillionaire. I mean, he's the modern day Rockefeller.
Yeah.
He's Thomas Edison. So I would never bet against him. I do think that he does tend to expedite his time frames on maybe he truly expects that time frame to hold up. But I do look to the time frames that he proposes with some skepticism. However, I would never bet that he can't get it done. I would just say that I expect time frames to extend out. The same thing that happened with Tesla. I think in 2016 was the first time he mentioned a self-driving car, and I think those officially rolled out in a testing phase in the past 2 years.
It's been a running joke on the driverless car. He's talked about it every time, and it's basically here. It's not a joke anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you 100%. There's so much speculation right now that SpaceX and Tesla is going to merge, which is incredible to think about. You just look at the overall company. We got space exploration. We have robotics. We have driverless cars. Just the vehicle itself. The semiconductors. I mean, this is a technological wonder, and just it's an amazing company.
And he might have one of the biggest motivators in the world with the deal he made with Tesla about the amount of wealth that he will accumulate if he hits certain benchmarks. And that's just with Tesla. And that's not even to mention what he's going to come to a deal with SpaceX. So
Yes. I want everybody to not get FOMO to the point that we're buying SpaceX at $3 trillion or $3.5 trillion. There is just looking historically, there's a 90 to 95% chance that we will be able to buy this company at a very good price. So we've been watching, we've been following. We're just hoping to get into it the most efficient way.
Yeah, and I think it peaked out around $220, around in that range a few days ago, and it's already down to $185. Not to say that's going to continue. It could spike back up above that, especially with all of the retail that's involved in this. But it had a down 10% day the other day. So whenever you're thinking about getting into something like this, the volatility is kind of just the nature of the beast.
Speaking of that, they allowed 30% retail in an IPO. which is just unheard of. I mean, we're going to lose money in an IPO. Boom, there it is. They've usually only allowed accredited or super accredited people into these because of the sophistication and you know, the lockups and all of that. And here we have Fidelity selling $2,000 blocks to your everyday Joe. That's just crazy.
Yep.
I mean, we haven't seen anything like this. It's going to be fun, but it may actually change the world, and we may do all IPOs like this going in the future. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, and the nature of the IPO itself, just the nature of it kind of implies a high valuation. If you got founders and long-term investors in the private world ready to get out of a company, it's unlikely that they're going to do it at what they find to be a cheap price. And so just the nature of the IPO itself kind of implies a high price. Now, sometimes that high price is worth it in years over the long run, but just depends on the company, depends on the outcome. And I would just say if somebody who's invested in the company for the past 10 years without the requirements of a public disclosure and now they're ready to sell it, I would be cautious approaching that company at those prices.
Yeah. You think about it, what is it, 4,400 new millionaires? Just the workers at SpaceX?
Yeah, the janitors in the cafeteria
Cafeteria
workers.
Yes,
workers,
doesn't matter who you are.
janitors.
You are a millionaire. And I can promise you those people are ready to push the button to fulfill all their dreams and their wants and their vacations and their, you know, it's a cool thing. But while we're on this, how many more are supposed to come out this year?
I mean,
And what's the implications of that?
there's already been news of OpenAI filing a confidential S1. I am assuming Anthropic is probably not too far behind. I mean,
I think they've already filed, haven't they?
they might have. I mean,
Yeah, one of them has.
those are the two biggest players in the actual chat AI world. Why wouldn't they go in it on together? I mean, we're already the biggest company in the world, in the private world, in SpaceX. I mean, that gives all the other big companies in the private world a great motive to go public.
You know, and why this even matters, you know, not 100% of SpaceX, those shares are not hitting the market. I think Elon still owns or controls 80% of that, 80 plus. So not the full 2 trillion came out. But even at 200 million, 250 billion, you know, how much of Anthropic is coming out? OpenAI, how much of that? We're talking serious amounts of money, and somebody's got to buy that for the IPOs. So if we're having, let's say half $1 trillion or $1 trillion hit the market, where does that money come from to keep pushing those IPOs up? What's getting sold? We had our investor meeting this morning, and we usually do bulls and bears and why to sell something or keep it. And today we were talking about MasterCard, talking about the financial industry as a whole. All these IPOs coming in and going into indices and this and that. And that was one of the theories, that they were going to be under-allocating the financials because they've been so weak for so long to make room for these companies. And, you know, it's really fun to think about how this happens, you know, because something has to be sold. If I want to go add money in our portfolios to SpaceX or any company, I got to sell something. So what gets sold? Because most people don't get the extra money that the government's printing. We got to only use what we have.
Yeah.
So
I mean, something has to be sold or borrowed. I mean, if you
sold
look
or
at,
borrowed.
and I don't think this is an issue today. I don't even think it's I'm not going to say it's not a possibility, but if you look at 1929, I mean, most of that bubble was propped up on margin. If you look at 2008, most of those loans were just lenders lending to bad creditors, so sold or borrowed.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and let's finish up talking about the market. Where were we at? We got to the IPO.
War
We're talking
talk.
about the war ending. What's going to happen now? And this is my feeling. The market was extremely bearish. The world has been ending for a while. A lot of institutions were short or betting against the market or really hedged. Any of the forums, everybody was so negative. Everybody's been in a bad mood in the investment world for a while. And you kind of have to think, when something happens, people have to change their mind. So where's the money have to go? If everybody's short now and things are looking better, people have to get long. People have to get into the market. And I think here in the short term, there's going to be a reversal of people getting excited again. There's just been too much fear. I think that's the next leg up. I don't know how long it lasts. I think we're extremely expensive. I know I've probably said that every single podcast for who knows how long.
50 years today, actually.
But I think here in the short term, we're definitely going to see the bull come back alive because people have a reason to buy, and you don't want to get left behind. So I think things are going to look good in the short term. I sure wouldn't leverage up. Speaking of leverage, I would still keep a control on all my risk. But crazy things are happening. Does everybody know gold is negative for the year?
Yep.
I mean,
That's crazy.
After having almost a record-breaking year in 25.
It's down 15% just in the last 3 months.
Yep.
Oil's coming down. I think we've talked about this before. Back in October, November, I was super excited about the market. It looked like our economy was turning around. We've been in a recession for 4 years, and consumer was coming back, shipping was coming back. I think we'd be blowing it out of the water right now if it wasn't for the war. I don't think we can go exactly right back to where we were before because we all have spent a lot of money on filling up our gas tanks. That inflation hasn't flowed through, but if it's not too bad, and you got to kind of think of if this is just a short-term thing, it's a hiccup, and we can keep moving. We will move back to that path, and hopefully the economy continues to come alive. But we're also doing that at a time where we're in the 99th percentile for how expensive everything is. So that should be something that we remember, and don't leverage up our house. Don't do anything crazy like that. If you want to be in the market, be in the market, but don't push it at this time. And we have a chance for great things to happen as long as this AI spin continues to do well.
Yep, drive the market. I agree 100%, especially with the current administration you have. I think we were a little bit overpromised and under-delivered on the outcome of this temporary, what I would call a temporary 60-day ceasefire, just the MOA that was signed. But Trump came out right after it was signed and said, if they don't do what I want them to do, I'll just go back to dropping bombs on their heads. So
that was yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll still drop bombs.
Yeah. So we don't need anybody getting over their skis and calling in, trying to sell all their bonds to buy the stocks. The purpose of the risk controls is to have dry powder when the bad times come, and we take advantage of that.
Yeah, and the strategy works. If you look at our core strategy, we're up almost 20% year to date, right at a little bit north of 19. Where's the market at? Market's at 9.
Yep.
So we're having a fantastic year, keeping risk in mind. We are definitely not all in. We're running less than a 90 beta portfolio, a little bit less than that. So if the market's running 100, we're running under 90, and those risk controls are working. So no reason to leverage. We're trying to get everything just as, I don't want to say safe. Compliance will shut that down. We're keeping risk in mind, and that is working very well. So I'm excited.
We can tell. You'd managed to talk for about 20 minutes straight about it.
Well, in the long term, especially, it works. I mean, in the short term, your day-to-day stuff, if you look at there will be days where we're not beaten. There will be days where we are beaten from an absolute standpoint. I mean, there was a time period last year where we did lag over a few months, and then, like Aaron said, this year we've more than caught back up. So whenever we're taking this stance and approach, it's always a long-term, risk-controlled, following the process, because the process works, and that's how we stay retired.
That's exactly right.
And patience and blindness is key. Don't look at it and just wait a little bit, and you'll be all right at the end of the day.
That's exactly right.
Because we're looking at it, to be clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
We're
not
I
being
promise
Someone's
you I'm
looking at it.
We're not closing our
I
eyes.
promise you I'm looking at it.
They are, but
I went to go have lunch with my son today, and he works extremely hard and saves like nobody else in my family. And he was telling me, Dad, it's time for me to start investing.
That's a good day.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. But that was one of the core things is like, can't look at it. If you look at it on a day-to-day basis, it's going to drive you crazy. And then we talked about the long-term and goals and cash needs and all that. But
I don't know Lake like you do, obviously, but I would find it extremely difficult to believe that he can outsave Jim from a percentage standpoint. I know Jim is a
agree
penny
with that
pincher.
sentiment, yeah.
you are crazy. He saves everything he makes and just comes and asks me or Mom for things that he needs.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Well, that's a great
He's-
investment
he's
strategy.
really-
I don't.
He's got it down. He's got it figured out.
Got it.
Zero cash needs. He's baby Lake, and he gets pretty much everything.
Well, I think that's about all the time we have. So just remember, a lot of things are happening in the market, and there's a positive outlook on the horizon. So just don't look at it because we are. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services. If you have questions, you can email them to lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more Life Planning 101. The opinions expressed herein are those of the firm and are subject to change without notice. The opinions referenced are as of the date of publication and are subject to change due to changes in the market or economic conditions and may not necessarily come to pass. Any opinions, projections, or forward-looking statements expressed herein are solely those of the author, may differ from the views or opinions expressed by other areas of the firm, and are only for general informational purposes as of the date indicated. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Smart Money Group LLC. Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by Calton & Associates Incorporated.